And welcome on into WagerWeekly.com for a week 7 in the NFL. Paul Nolan, Damon Roberts breaking down your Sunday card. And we've got 5-6 games to go through for you. And of course, it starts tonight on Thursday night. Jacksonville on the road to New Orleans. Game 311, 312, 8:15 on Thursday night. Jacksonville and New Orleans opens Pick'em and 42. New Orleans now -2 at home. 40.5 is your total at Circa. Paul Nolan, a Thursday night game where we see the Jaguars' third-ranked run defense. Well, they just held Indianapolis' Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss to a combined 40 yards on 15 carries in their 37-20 victory this past Sunday. What do you see here in this game tonight for New Orleans at home?
That was kind of a misleading victory. 37 points were kind of gifted to him. Gardner Minshew was hitting safeties in stride. Now the overreaction against Minshew is pretty laughable when you listen to some of these talking heads on like NFL Network, Good Morning NFL. That show's like almost completely unwatchable at this point. But you can make the argument that last week the Jaguars had 233 yards and 16 first downs. And they really didn't look good or in sync whatsoever offensively. They really, like I said, were gifted. Now they go on the road after 2 weeks on the road, essentially in London, come back across the pond, get back here, play a home game, get kind of gifted a win by an absolutely abysmal game by a backup quarterback. And you get a New Orleans team that really did whatever they wanted. I had Houston last week. I bet them, and I felt like I won the lottery because everywhere between the 20s, they marched up and down the field. Now, I'm not saying anything about Derek Carr in the red zone. It's been terrible really his whole career. It's just not a red zone guy. And the scheme looks like it's not helping him any. But New Orleans defense is full-blown legitimate. And I think they're catching this Jaguar team in the ultimate letdown spot right now with a short week, having to go. And then factor in Lawrence getting hurt on the last play of the game. I mean, he's going to play, obviously, but he's not 100%. And there are other injuries across the board now. The offensive line for the Jaguars are really banged up. I mean, listen, New Orleans has their offensive line issues as well. But the pass rush and the sack rate of the Jaguar defense is just something I have no fear whatsoever. 28th in sack rate, 23rd in pass yards allowed. I'm a big fan of this New Orleans defense, even though they played some weaker competition. You could say Jacksonville is not as good offensively as they have gotten credit for. So I really like this game to go under quite a bit. I got it when it opened. I got a small piece on it at 41.5, and I put a large bet of under 40, and that's still available now. And I got New Orleans on the money line. And right now at Circa, it's minus 130 on the money line. I see some twos popping up. But I think it's a rock solid game tonight. I really like this. I like the position to be on New Orleans and the under, especially. I also like the first half under on it. So I'm really all in on this game. So anybody out there who's interested, please just click, like on the video, share us, please. And if it's possible, go to wagerweekly.com and just sign up for our newsletter. We'll send you all our best bets. It'll be no catch. We'll always send you a link to the picks that we give out for free. There's nothing to buy. There's no link to purchase anything. This is just a channel. We're trying to build a community, and you guys are the reason we're doing it because the good feedback we've gotten so far.
Well, the under that you mentioned obviously is one of the big stats. When you really break this game down, the under is something that absolutely stands out. Under has cashed in 15 of New Orleans' last 16 games, including obviously all 6 so far this season. Saints have played 12 straight games where the combined score was below 40 points. And as you said, tonight right now sitting at 40.5. So a lot of reasons to be looking at that under tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's been an under team. It's an under league. I think it's shocking that 60% of the games have gone under this year. Now the market's going to readjust. I'm just not ready to go against it yet. I think that we're living in the world where so many people just, the fantasy football crowd is, still rooting for everyone, and they've been ingrained to play, overs anyhow. So, but the unders keep coming in. I'm going to stay with it for a little while, but this will regress. You can see the totals are coming lower and lower and lower as on aggregate. So I think that we're going to have ourselves a good chance to play some overs down the second half. But also there's some great unders this week based on weather. Guys, you have to check weather reports on Monday for the week. Then you got to check them again on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Catch your values on the weather and make sure you're staying up on weather because wind metrics make a huge difference. Anything past 12 miles an hour and every mile an hour past that is a huge benefit to the under. So please, check the unders for yourself. It's very important.
All right, next game up is 464. Paul Nolan, Arizona on the road to Seattle. This game opened 8.5. Seattle at home, 8.5-point favorite. 46 was your total. Both have come down a little bit since then. Seattle now sits at circa at 7.5. Your total has come down to 44.5. And listen, you look at this Arizona team, Josh Dobbs, I think his starting job could be in jeopardy. He's got to start improving. His last 2 games, his numbers have been horrific. 49.3% completion rate, only 5.5 yards per attempt, 3 missed touchdowns to an open Hollywood Brown, and a 2-to-3 touchdown to interception ratio, Paul Nolan. It's just an Arizona team that kind of is who they are. They're a bottom 5 team in the league. They're not good. Seattle defeated them by more than 10 points in both matchups last season. What do you see here in this one?
It's funny, man. Everyone talks about bad beats when they lose, but they don't talk about bad beats the opposite way. Like last week I had Cincinnati, and honestly, I really had no business covering that game other than some really well-timed pressures they got on Geno to put him in pressure. I mean, Seattle got inside the Seattle 10-yard line on 4 drives, and he came away with, how many points, D? 3. 3. 1, 2, 5. No, 3. I got so lucky winning that game. I think Seattle had 385 yards of offense, while Cincinnati had 214. And, I like I'm going to say, I pulled a horseshoe out of my ass, and I'm grateful for it because I got burnt on another game. So overall for the season, 15-10 on my real games that I've released to my friends and family and clients. So at this point right now, I'm very confident when I look at this Seattle team to get a positive regression back to a better offensive scheme inside the red zone. I expect them really to be able to dominate on the ground. At this point right now, this Arizona run defense and their pass blocking has been abysmal, and Seattle's going to be able to run the ball as well as possible because they've found the pass rush. They rank 4th in pass rush rate, so there's some really serious holes on this Arizona offensive line, and I'm pretty confident that Seattle laying 7.5 is a good number, and I'm going to be honest with you. Some people call me a sissy, and I am. I bought the 7. We took over for Rashad Penny. I was just like, this kid is going to be better. In his first game, if you remember 2 seasons back, we pounded Seattle in a game. So I'm a big fan of this kid. He is so deceptive. His ability to bounce, move, jump. He's just so talented. And this offense on a run success rate has been outstanding. So, and I really do not trust Arizona's defense at this point. So I'm very confident that Seattle's going to be able to get one of those games that they kind of deserve. I really like the Seattle team. I think they're underrated. I think they're going to be in full tilt against this division foe that they've had a lot of success against in the past. So I like this home crowd advantage in this game. It's going to be downpouring rain for the couple hours before and hours through and hours after. So it's just going to have one of those real Seattle home crowd feels with I don't know. It seems like the crowd goes even more crazy in the rain. Like I don't know. They just like some kind of Indian war chant thing. It's just they're so impressive, that fan base, and it's like they will their team to win. Like they will it to rain. It's just so I'm pumped. I love this game. It's another one on my board. So, and I kind of lean to the over a little bit too if I had to, but I really like Seattle in this game.
All right, next game up, we're going to move to 466. Pittsburgh Steelers on the road. They visit the Rams and Matt Stafford. Kenny Pickett coming to town. Stafford opened and the Rams opened 3.5 at home. 42.5 is your total. Rams pretty much a solid 3 now across the board. You've seen some money come in on Pittsburgh. 44.5 is your total. Total's gone up a little bit, Paul Nolan. And I wonder if that has something to do with, obviously, there are just some coaches that are great off a bye week, and Mike Tomlin is absolutely one of them. Steelers are 12-4 after their bye week since Tomlin became the head coach in 2007. You think that's has something to do with the tick up in the total here? Expect Pittsburgh to put up a decent offensive performance?
Yeah, I do. I think that has a lot to do with it. Like I said, we have a very savvy betting community now. The world has changed, and people have so much access to so much good data now, and there's so many great resources like Action Network and PFF and the Football Outsiders. I forgot where they went to. They changed their name, but they're tremendous researchers. It's outstanding, and people who put the time in know these things more than ever. But I'm going to buck that trend because I thought this line should have been 3.5 with the Tomlin factor. If Tomlin's record was even, I would have had this line at 4 or 4.5. So I think I'm getting a free point and a half on that crucial 3. I don't want to say love, but I love the Rams today. I think what you're going to see, the way this healthy Matt Stafford has been firing darts. Now with Cooper Kupp back, obviously everyone knows about Puka Nacua, who's been outstanding, and some of the young guys in this team we talked about early in the season. This Rams team was an us against the world team, a plucky gang of misfits, if you will, led by all-world Aaron Donald, led by a Matt Stafford, who has fully validated his greatness when he won a Super Bowl and has had a great career. And he's a guy who can handle pressure, and he's a guy who's not going to face a whole lot this weekend, I don't think. I think that Pittsburgh's defense has been a bit overrated. You know, they've had some big-time plays. According to my numbers, they're about average in the league. And I love Tomlin. I laugh at Pittsburgh fans who think he should be fired. I find it completely insane. But the offense for Pittsburgh is so abysmal, it can't be denied or ignored. And this average defense has overplayed and has been the luckiest team in the league by far, according to two different sources that use, I call it the eye test and I call it misleading wins. Pittsburgh is one with smoke and mirrors at this point, and I just think they're going to run into an LA team that, yes, there'll be a ton of Pittsburgh fans there, but Pittsburgh fans are going to turn on them at some point because this team is impossibly hard to watch offensively, especially on first down. Their success rate on first down is, I think, like 32% of a successful play. That is so beyond abysmal. That is so hard. Now you're putting, Kenny Pickett in a situation where he's got to be able to, you're asking him to constantly convert second long, third and long, and he's just not capable. So I really like the Rams in this situation. I know some sharp guys who I have great love and respect for, guys who I've, been able to skew my opinion in the past. They got Pittsburgh in this game, and that's why that line came from 3.5 to 3 as well. But I'm not buying it, man. I'm simply not buying it. If I can get this, if I could see a short 3 and I could buy it to 2.5, lay in 125, I'm in on that big time. I'm going full. My max bet is 5%, and that'll be one of them.
Any concern that Kyren Williams is out? I mean, the Rams weren't a great rushing team anyways, even when he was in. No Kyren Williams, no Ronnie Rivers. So you're really you're putting a lot on Zach Evans to run the ball. They haven't run the ball great. If they can't run the ball, TJ Watt gets pressure. They can double team Cooper Kupp. Does that concern you at all?
It doesn't, because I think McVay can scheme his way through this thing and use a short passing game to alleviate the lack of run. So I'm confident I'm confident that they'll be fine to keep the clocks moving. I'm expecting 22 first downs from the Rams. I'm expecting 15 from Pittsburgh. I think we're going to win the clock battle by 33 to 27 or more. So I will listen. I would love him to be in. I would love the running game to have a little more oomph, but I'm not sweating with McVay's ability to scheme. So I'm staying with this game no matter what.
All right, let's move to the next game up on the list here. 467, 468. Chargers head to Kansas City. Boy, two great quarterbacks here. Kansas City opened 5.5 and 51 at home. Paul Nolan still sitting at 5.5 at Circa. Totals come down, though, substantially. 51 down to now 48. Chargers and Kansas City here. Obviously, the Chargers 2 and 3 have lost their games by an average of just 2.6 points, including one in overtime. But it's really the coach that drives you absolutely crazy here with the decision-making. It's amazing to me that he actually still has a job there. And on the other side of the ball, you look at the Chiefs, obviously 4 and 6 against the spread. The past 10 times they've laid 4 or more points, which is the situation here. What do you see here in this game?
Yeah, it's, the Chargers, I think the last 23 games, they've lost by 6, or less, it's like just amazing that that this team constantly plays all these close games. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago, how they're just unbelievable team in teasers. They almost cover every single teaser, we've seen, the last time, I think Staley's played them 4 times as a head coach, and he has 1 win head-to-head, but the Chargers were either leading or tied in the fourth quarter of all 4 meetings. Last year they lost, they should have been a 3-point game. They should be 6-0 against the spread against the Chargers, against the Chiefs, because they lost in overtime on a touchdown, a 6-pointer on a really weird play, which should have, they were getting 3.5. They should have covered that as well. Herbert wasn't good last week. He was missing open guys, and I expect him to bounce back this week. The EPA on this offense is great. The pass metrics are great. I love their drop back success rate. But you said it best. Staley is a complete tool bag. Wait, did I say that, or did you? You thought it. I said it. He's just the arrogance and the hubris. It's I can't wrap my head around. I mean, sometimes you just got to like bite the bullet and go with what common sense and what the players want you to do. That some of the cavalier moves he makes, you can see it deflates the team when it fails. So, the Chiefs offense ranks fifth in yards per drive, sixth in points per drive. It's not quite the Chiefs offense that we all know. They're playing more of a rugged style game, right?
They have been consistently inconsistent on their offense, and I think that's something people overlook. You take away whatever they put up against the Bears. I think they put up 41 against the Bears. You discount that game. This offense is really averaging about 21 points a game. They really have not been a Chiefs offense. When you look, you think about the individual parts a lot. Mahomes, Kelsey, pretty good offensive line. But when you look at them as a unit, they really have not performed that well so far this year.
Yeah, without a doubt. One thing that stands out to me is the public betting is really pounding the dog here. It's usually been a recipe for disaster. However, this year, the public is winning in 60% clip. We've never seen this kind of winning done. We talked about it last week. The only time it was this bad was in 2005 for the bookies, and now it might have surpassed it with last week's essentially a debacle. I mean, 2-12 to the over. 12 games going under the total. And the public bets overs really. So the bookies are getting their bell rung, and with the public bets winning. So, and more public bets on the under than ever. I've never seen anything like this. You look at the metrics and the splits. The money on the under is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games, 11 games of the 13 this weekend. There's more money and more tickets on the unders. That was the same thing last week. The public is betting unders now, and it's staggering to me to see this. The market's changing, and the wise guys and the sharpest guys with the big betting groups, they're getting their bells rung. But that's why they don't bet like wackos. That's why they bet 1%, 3%, 5% of their bankroll, because they have ammunition when the trends change. So I definitely am on the dog in this one as well. I'm with the public on it. I'm not going to let that sway me, because I do think that this team will be able to keep it close at this point, because the Chiefs just don't blow out anybody. So, and this is one of the misnomers I liked. I wanted to.
And Austin Eckler's back, which has got to help.
Love him. The teams that are on short week rest, like the Chargers are, versus teams with 10 days rest, are 45-35 to the winning side ATS. Is that not shocking to you? The teams with 6 days rest versus teams with 10, especially we've heard about Andy Reid's incredible record with extra rest. It's kind of leveling out a little bit so against the spread. So I'm going to stay with the Chargers. I don't love this one, but I do like it, and I want to make sure I give as much free stuff out to you guys as possible. But there's this again, we're doing this on a Thursday. We don't have all the injury reports, so always tune in on Sunday morning, and we can share what our final bets are.
All right, let's move to the Sunday night game. Paul Nolan, 471, 472, Miami. On the road, heads to Philadelphia. Obviously, 2.5 this game opened, and 52. Still solid 2.5 at Circa. It's come down a little bit on the total to 51. But here's my question to you, Paul Nolan. How is it that the Eagles, the most well-rounded team in the league, hand a gift to the Jets last week, play absolutely terrible, -4 in turnover ratio. They lose 20-14. And they're set at 2.5 in this game at home against Miami. 2.5. That to me seems like they are begging for Philadelphia money on this game, and I don't think I'm falling for it. What do you say?
Yeah, no, I disagree. I set my line at 2 and 51.5, and I don't think this Philly team is the most dominant, well-rounded team in the league at this point right now. They've looked completely inefficient at times, and to me, they're still susceptible to the run, which the Dolphins are phenomenal at. I was surprised, honestly, that the splits on the total tickets were 41% and 59% on Philly, 41 on Miami. I was kind of surprised. So you have a good point, but I really thought the public would be pounding on Miami as a dog, because they're this glorious offensive story. Every fantasy player in the world loves them. You look at I don't know if you know, but right now the success rate in the red zone in the NFL is one of the lowest we've ever seen to this point. I think it's 54% for the entire season, and Miami's at 81%. I don't think we've ever seen a team finish. I think 71 is like the max percent you see at the end of every season. So they have to have a regression in the red zone at some point right now. the Eagles secondary, yeah, they got some issues back there. I really thought that I really thought people would be thinking that this track meet of Miami would be having a field day back there, but 15-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to start to feel northeasty, and I think a rabid, absolutely insane Link will go. I almost said the vet. That's how it tells you how old I am. I miss Veterans Stadium. I miss being in there and getting hit by D batteries when wearing a Giant jersey. But
if the Eagles beat the Giants, if they beat the Jets last week, what do you think? What do you open this line at this week if they're still undefeated and they beat the Jets?
Yeah, good point. 3.5. You're right. And I had that. My look ahead was 3.5. But let's not lie about this Jet defense. It's sick. It's Quinnen Williams and Quincy Williams. These guys are unbelievable. This is as strong and as good a team as defense as there is in the league. I can't even imagine what this team would be doing if they had Aaron Rodgers. I just think, despite the offensive line, I think he'd be. I really think this Jet team would be, at the front of every headline, because Rodgers would be, just leading this team in a way. He walked into the locker room before the Chief game, and they said it was like Elvis walked into the room. So. Anyway, I think I just have similar feelings when I look at this line that I had with the Jets line last week. I'm looking at that line going, why is it under a touchdown? That 6.5 to me is such a giveaway, because I try to put myself in the shoes of the normal Joe guy bettor going to the window who loses 80% of the time. They think, man, all the Eagles got to do is win by that touchdown. All they got to do is win by 7. They're 6.5. They're not 7. I don't get a push. I get a win. And I feel like the same thing with the Eagles this week. People look and go, all we got to do is kick that last-minute field goal. We're only laying 2.5. We're not laying 3, so we don't get the push. We get the win at -3. To me, it's just calling for Philadelphia money, in my opinion. Yeah, I just think this is the first time Miami's going to face a defensive line that can execute such great pressure with 4 guys, especially with the wind helping the secondary out a little bit. We have seen the only time Miami played a quality team, they got their balls handed to them by Buffalo. Excuse my language. I could say that. I'm on the internet. People poop in cups on the internet. I can say that word. What the hell?
Whatever you want.
Exact shit. How you like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Philly's going to run the ball down their throat. I think they're going to dominate the clock. I think they're going to do everything in their power to not do what they did last week against the Jets, because they abandoned the run, and the Jets stopped the run as well as anyone, and they kind of chickened out with it. I think that Jalen Hurts will bounce back. This kid has got so much confidence and so much, leadership. He's just that guy that everybody loves, and he's fully accountable for the loss. He took it on himself. He never threw anybody under the bus. I just love the way he handles himself. And I really think that this defensive line for the Eagles will be the difference. And I think the offensive line will road grade Miami in this game. I could see this staying under with the wind and the weather, despite, the high number. And, I just feel like it's going to be a clock possession game, because I think that Philly knows that that's what they have to do. And I think they'll do it. They learned from their mistake last week. And this coaching staff is obviously missing their coordinators, but it looks like they were getting a little something before last week. And the Jets made almost every team look really bad offensively, including Mahomes. This defense is beyond legit. If they had a team that can keep on schedule offensively with a series of first downs to give them a chance to breathe, give them a chance to make some more adjustments on the fly, I just can't even imagine where this defense would be if they only had to be on the field 29 minutes a game.
All right, well, that's probably a good time to move over to our last game here today, Paul Nolan, and that's going to be the Monday Nighter, 473-474, San Francisco, Minnesota. We still got a little ways to go in this game, so obviously we'll do another video breakdown of this game as we get closer to Monday night. Obviously, San Francisco, just as last week, I'm thinking, boy, this team's going to smash everybody from here to the Super Bowl. They go out and give a disastrous performance against Cleveland on the road. What do you see? What's your early thoughts on this game? Minnesota at home, obviously struggling offensively all season. No Justin Jefferson. What do you see here?
Well, it's Thursday before the injury reports come out for this afternoon, so it's tough to make a decision here. As of right now, it looks like Christian McCaffrey, Debo, and Trent Williams are all going to be okay, not long-term injuries. But that's the heart and soul of that offense. Those guys are all just game-changing players. I cannot at this point say I have an opinion on this game. I'd like guys to check in with us on Monday morning. And that's one of the reasons why, if you go to wagerweekly.com and you sign up, we'll send you an alert when we give out a free pick, and we're not selling anything. There's nothing for sale. This is my last season, probably handicapping. I'm probably going to retire after this year. I'm 15-10 on the season. I really feel like I've had a couple bad beats. I've had some breaks. I won't lie about that. But overall, I really feel like I should be 1 or 2 games up on the win side and 1 or 2 less on the downside. But 15-10, 60%. I'll take that every year for the rest of my life if I keep going. But just if you want to jump on board, it's all free, and I'm just grateful to share it with you.
All right, check back with us on Monday as we will wrap up then a solid Week 7 Monday night game between San Francisco and Minnesota. We'll do that on Monday night, but enjoy your Week 7, everybody, and we'll see you then right here at WagerWeekly.com.